We need to transition back to collective leadership. Ubuntu grounds us in the fact that we are because of others.
An African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone.
Yes.
But if you want to go far, go together. Well, good morning, Professor Ndevu. It's so great to be with you. I'm really excited about the 28th International Leadership Association Global Conference, which is being hosted in Toronto this year. And I'm even more excited about the fact that you will be flying over from South Africa to join us at the ILA as one of our keynote speakers. You're going to be speaking about a really critical issue that I think is so pivotal as we move into industry IR4 and IR5. And so I wanted to kind of just get your thoughts as we prime the pump for that conference. Your keynote is titled Relational Leadership in a Fragmenting World. When participants leave your sessions, really, what do you most hope they will be talking about in the hallways of the ILA Global Conference? And believe me, we do talk in the hallways. So what are you hoping we'll be talking about after your keynote?
Good morning to you, Rob, and thank you for having me. I'm equally excited to be part of this session. Also have the conversation, especially one who can bring views or perspective from the global south. And as you have indicated, I will be talking about an important concept, which is around relational leadership and grounded it on Ubuntu. So what I expect to achieve, or people walking out of the session talking about, is the fact that when currently we see in the global world, there are serious challenges, and these challenges, most of them emanate from decisions that are taken by leaders, as individual leaders, leaders as sole decision makers at that particular point in time. So what I want people to come out of that session with is that we need to transition back to collective leadership. We need to transition back to forming relationships, and those relationships inform leadership. So we can do more if we work together. And we want that message to then sink. If people can talk about that, can say, let's go back and see what is happening in the world currently, in corporate currently, the economies that are struggling to grow, governments that are not functioning as they should, and say, perhaps let's go back together and collaborating with others in ensuring that we lead as a collective. So I'm hoping that would be something that people will go out talking about it. You don't need to stand alone. You can stand with others and still take correct decisions.
Mm-hmm. And that's a very Ubuntu mindset. Kind of like a proverb I heard that has really stuck with me, an African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone.
Yes.
But if you want to go far, go together. And I think, as you're saying, we need to be thinking much more about far, not just the immediate, and together rather than just alone. That's very exciting. You draw on the South African philosophy of Ubuntu. How does Ubuntu help global leaders move beyond heroic, individualistic models of leadership?
This concept of Ubuntu grounds us in the fact that we are because of others. It grounds us in the fact that humility, it is still an important component of anyone leading. When we are engaging from the Southern African perspective, we encourage people to rethink about the fact that humanity is one. And we need as leaders to realize that and say, if we need to go further, if we need to succeed, we can succeed if we work with others. We can actually flourish if we work with each other because we bring collective effort together. And I think that, for me, should be the grounding of what we do.
I think you know, Prof. Zweli, that many of our attendees lead in environments marked by polarization that's endemic in our world today, isolation, and rigid organizational silos. Can you share a concrete example of how relational leadership can become a strategic advantage, not just a soft skill in such a context?
If we can have shared interest and this is important, if we can have common or shared interest. There is a proverb in South Africa from one of the nations called the Khois. When they say a vision that is not shared by others, it is not a vision. A vision can only be a vision when it's shared by others. So you start by building a relationship, have common vision, and once you do that, those relationships are going to be strong. They are going to tie up people together towards that singular vision, and would mean that as we take decisions, as we act as leaders, we act in relation to how we connect with others, and the connections will become stronger because we now connect towards a single vision. And I think relational leadership can then be this important source of progress if it is not only something that we tie up to MOUs, contracts, but it goes beyond that.
And that's, I think, so exciting. I mean, I always teach my graduate students in our conflict and negotiation course that negotiation is about relationship and leadership's about relationship, and everything you're saying resonates so powerfully. Do you have any examples of leaders that you've observed, encountered, organizations maybe that you've observed, encountered? Do you have any concrete examples of this kind of relational connection, relational leadership, together vision, as you call it?
I'll make the South African example, which I want to remind people of this. Some of the stories that they know, but I'll reshare this story so to remind people. When Nelson Mandela came out of jail, after 27 years in jail, many people thought he would come out bitter, he would come out not want to work with those that put him into prison. But his starting point was to build strong relationships with those that he differed with. And as a result of that, South Africa came up with a very good concept called a rainbow nation, where we were diverse, we had our different perspective, but we were connected by this relationship, by these doors, by us wanting to be one thing. And if you have that, if you say, let's put our differences aside, in the first instance, we are human beings. We need to relate at some points and look at common areas and say, where are the common areas that we can relate in, and build on that. And that relational leadership would then grow over time to be stronger. So Nelson Mandela demonstrated that in his time.
Fantastic. And yeah, what a powerful example. What a great example. For leaders joining us from business, government and civil society, education, what practical practices or disciplines would you recommend they begin experimenting with immediately after your keynote to cultivate this collective flourishing that you've talked about?
I think there would be 4 things that I would think they should look at. But before they do that, I want figuratively to think about a leader as someone, and this is an old concept that many of them would be aware of, as someone who has a head, a heart, and hands. Once you think about that, then you start to listen deeper, practicing deeper listening to those that you lead. You expand your cycle of consultation. That's the second one. So you listen deeply and expand your cycle of consultation. So you would normally consult those that are immediately reporting to you, but we're saying we expand that span of consultation to consult even those that you would ordinarily not consult or interact with. Ensure that you are able to measure results in terms of relationship. How these relationships are valued. What value do they bring to the conversation, to decisions that you take? Ensure that you also lastly create a space for reflection where people can reflect. And if you have these 4 things, you are able to build stronger, authenticated relationship with others that would help in building a relationship, even where people would have thought that the relationships would not flourish. Would flourish if you listen deeper to other people, create a bigger space for consultation, ensure that the consultation framework is measured in terms of value, and ultimately ensure that there is opportunities for reflection.
As I listen to you, Prof. Zweli, I'm really struck by the power of what you're saying. In North America, and indeed in organizations, we talk a lot about KPIs, key performance indicators. Last semester, I challenged my students with KEIs, key ethical indicators. I think you're calling us to measure KRIs, key relational indicators. And leadership's about relationship. Ubuntu's about relationship. I really like that. I think coming out of this conference, we might have some research emerging around KRIs. So it's very exciting. Thank you for that. Yeah. So my last question to you, the conference theme emphasizes our shared responsibility for the future of global leadership. How do you see this year's ILA Global Conference and your keynote in particular contributing to a broader reimagining? And this is what we talked about a lot in the lead up to the conference, what we're trying to look at the conference, reimagining leadership as the stewardship of our shared humanity.
I think we should see leadership beyond what it has been seen as traditionally, as we should see it as a lace that connects organizational vision to individuals that are within the organization and to the goals of the organization, ensuring that these three components flourish together. And once you do that, it draws everyone, the leaders, the people in the organization, the organizational culture would be drawn in to achieving the goals of the organization. So if you ensure that these three flourish together, you are likely to see a change in leadership. We need that more in the public sector now with everything that is happening, either in the intergovernmental space or in the intragovernmental space as well.
Again, your picture is so powerful. I envisage leaders having laces on their desks to think about, I'm connected to the people I'm leading. And it's the people that matter, right? It's why we meet. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And people sometimes undervalued centers of organizations or resources of organizations, because we do think that we can replace them easily, but it is not always the case. History has taught us that over time, even the poorest of performance cannot be replaced easily.
Yeah.
If you talk about the relations.
Yes. So we are walking away today, even from this interview, with a lot of key thoughts. Let's change leadership to be relationally focused. Let's expand who we're consulting with. Let's think about leadership as really tied to the people we're leading. And let's try to measure that through KRIs, key relationship indicators. Of course, I'm looking forward to seeing you. I'm looking forward to hosting you in our wonderful city of Toronto. You'll experience some of the great food. We've got some great restaurants lined up. You'll get to meet some amazing people. I'm always struck by the amazing people we meet at the ILA. And of course, looking forward to your keynote session. So, Prof. Zweli, thank you so much for your willingness to come and to share your insights and your wisdom in the 28th ILA on the 28th of October.